Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, the situation is extremely tenuous in West Asia. Israel, for now, seems to be concentrating on neutralizing the Hezbollah in Lebanon after having dealt with the Hamas to a large extent in Gaza. But at the same time, a sense of foreboding also hangs in the air about how will Israel respond to Iran's missile onslaught, which took place just 2 days ago. To talk about this developing situation, we have with us Dr. Mohan Kumar, former senior diplomat. Thank you for joining us this evening, Dr. Kumar. What do you make of the situation right now? Do you think that there is any scope here for restraint being shown by Israel? Because right now it seems to be completely focused on the Hezbollah.
Having me, Gautam, I think there is very little scope for restraint, frankly. My sense is that both sides are ratcheting up the tension. There is also the issue of saving face. Iran finds itself in an extremely difficult situation where if they don't retaliate, their credibility is going to suffer. They've got their own proxies in the region who will then start losing confidence in Iran. And in Israel's case, I think Israel has decided to go on a particular course of action where it will be very difficult now for Israel to go back. So all in all, this is a dangerous and a combustible situation that you have in the Middle East.
Right. And what is Iran trying to do at this moment? Its leader has been in Qatar, in Doha, talking to a lot of other players in the region as well, who've been trying to broker peace, in fact, where Gaza is concerned.
I thought I would never be able to say this on a television channel, but Iran to me seems like the party which really now wants de-escalation, not Israel, to be honest with you. I thought that Iran is the country which actually would like escalation, but it seems to me Iran wants now to step back and see whether a solution can be found, because it is extremely vulnerable today, Iran. It finds itself backed into a corner. If it acts, it's damned if it does, it's damned if it doesn't. And that is the situation in which Iran finds itself. For Israel, this is a moment in which it finds there is an opportunity to re-establish and rebuild an order in the Middle East to its liking. And that's really the problem. Because Israel senses there is an opening here. Israel feels Iran is at its weakest point and that it must exploit this situation to reorder the Middle East or West Asia to its liking. So if you ask me at this point, Iran probably seeks a de-escalation much more than Israel.
But will that happen? Will Israel hold back? Because it is not, for the moment, it's not since the first, when those rockets were fired, the drones were fired, about 200 of them. It hasn't really directly hit Iran. You've had the US coming and saying that you can't hit their nuclear sites. And that is again a very, very sensitive matter. And again, a hugely escalated move if Israel happens to do that. Do you think Israel will show the kind of restraint that the world is expecting from it?
The honest answer to your question is probably not, because the US's leverage with Israel seems to be declining by the day. I don't think the United States has much leverage with Israel at this point. Israel itself has a leader who's actually struggling for political survival. And Israel's leader, Netanyahu, it is in his interest that Israel wins this war. The trouble is how you define victory. But I think at this point, therefore, to expect Israel to step back and say we want peace in the region is not going to happen that easily. And that is why I say this is a situation where if there is one party which seeks de-escalation more than Israel, it is actually Iran.
Is it only because of Netanyahu and his rule that you say that the US has lost leverage with Israel, or is it also because of the domestic situation in the US, where effectively Joe Biden is a lame duck president? He'll only be around till January at the most, and then you'll have a new person in office who will either be Donald Trump or Kamala Harris.
No, you are spot on. it's not just because of Netanyahu. That's the big part of the reason. But really, the other part of the reason, you're absolutely right, is that the US is bang in the middle of an election season. While Joe Biden is a lame duck president, Joe Biden also wants to ensure that Kamala Harris's chances don't get jeopardized. And US support to Israel is actually something that is a vote winner in the US election. Kamala Harris cannot be seen to be part of an administration which lets go of Israel or which lets down Israel. So that is the other part of the problem. Joe Biden himself has no future. He's lame duck. But the problem is Joe Biden has to make sure that he doesn't put Kamala Harris at a severe disadvantage. So that seems to be the real problem. So you're quite right. There is an American political problem and there is an Israel domestic political problem. The combination of these two things will make Israel not to step back and actually seek escalation. That is the problem as I see it in the Middle East.
And how ironic is the situation that every country is saying that there should be peace, everyone should show restraint, sit down and have talks, and at the same time, a lot of them are, well, either taking their citizens out of Lebanon for the moment, pretty soon it might be Iran as well, and the others are putting plans in place.
So there is a bit of diplomatic speak or double speak involved, to be absolutely honest with you. Countries will have to say that they seek peace and they seek de-escalation, particularly when there are so many casualties on the ground. But I can tell you, based on my experience, there will be quite a few people who will be quite thrilled in both Israel and United States if Hezbollah is brought to heel and if Iran is brought to heel. Let me assure you, there are enough people in both United States and Israel who want to teach Iran a lesson, who want to teach Hezbollah a lesson, and who want revenge for what has happened on October 7 in Israel. The idea is that nobody dares invade Israel the way Israel was attacked on October 7. So I think what you are seeing is also a fair bit of double speak, a fair bit of diplomatic speak, where everybody says, yes, we want peace, but they are not going to do anything meaningful to stop Israel from attacking Iran.
Yeah, probably it's also a case of pray for the best and prepare for the worst. But how tough is a situation like this for a country like ours, India? We have friends. We are friends with Israel and America. We are also friends with Iran. And we, of course, condemn any act of terror as well and terrorist organizations. But again, the humanitarian crisis is confronting the world, and India also has citizens in Lebanon.
Two significant and specific dangers, if I may, for India. One is if there is a conflagration of the situation and the war spreads to Middle East, we have 8 million people just in the Gulf cooperation countries. And as you say, we have also a fair number of Indians in Lebanon. And we have a fair number of Indians in Israel as well.
Yes.
So that will be a problem. The second important problem is a spike in oil prices. So far, the oil prices have remained fairly stable. And ironically, they have reduced a little bit because of Saudi actions. But if there is a wider conflagration in the Middle East, then oil prices will spike upwards. And if that happens, that I think will have a much more deleterious effect on India's economy. And that to me is the biggest danger for India.
All right. But let's hope that things don't really get to that level where it becomes really tough for everyone. High oil prices hurt everyone. India, of course, is no stranger to that. But let's hope that things sort of, in some ways, do not descend to that sort of a level. Thanks a lot for joining for the moment, Ambassador Kumar.